Yes, good morning and welcome to today's class. We're going to be talking about understanding chapter 1. Yes, we've done on introduction on what is research, what is the importance of research, and what are the challenges that most people experience in researching. So now I want to make you to understand chapter 1. When it comes to chapter 1, what are the things you need to know? So our agenda for this video is to okay, introduction, what chapter 1 entails, the do's and don'ts for chapter 1, departmental specification, then final tips and takeaway. Then for the introduction part, if there's one thing I want us to know is like chapter 1 for every department is the same chapter 1 for every department. That is, for you to start your work, there must be chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the beginning of your work, and it's not just like any other beginning. It is you setting the foundation of your research work. So chapter 1, it is giving a total general introduction of what you want to carry out, how you want to carry out the themes, the sub-themes, the topic you're going to be focusing on under that particular research topic in order to bring it and to add to the body of knowledge. So that is what chapter 1 is all about. So when you talk about the do's and don'ts of chapter 1, what does this entails? Chapter 1 has an outline. And when you talk about outline, just like how I say that various departments have their various form of research writing. When it comes to the project writing for the undergraduate, the dissertation for the masters, and the thesis for the PhD, everybody have chapter 1, but various departments have various ways in which they carry out their own chapter 1 writing. And what are the various ways in which they carry out chapter 1 writing? The same sub-themes you see here is the same sub-theme that is in there for every other department. But what is being written here might totally differ, but it is not totally what different. It is the same thing. Or statement of problem is the problem of research statement. Aims and objectives, significance of the study, scope and limitation. What is it talking about? Is still the same thing. But there are some things that you will find out in a research writing and you not see in some other aspect of writing. For example, literature review for some sciences and social sciences, their literature review is in chapter 2. They don't do literature review under chapter 1. But for historians, their literature review for their particular chapter 1 is under what? Is under chapter 2. So you get to see this and you get to understand this. It is in what? Chapter 2. But for the historian, it is in chapter 1. So we're going to take step by step. What are the things you need to write under this particular thing? The do's and don'ts for chapter 1 is that under chapter 1 for various departments like the sciences and social science, you get to be seeing things like 1.1, 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, just like that. So this is just indicating the various numbers on and the teams. When you go to chapter 2, it will be 2.1 because it's chapter 2. Another sub teams under chapter 2, 2.2, 2.3. So that's how you go about it. But for historians, you don't need all this number in your work. Historians do not deal with numbers, so we don't need them. You don't need it. You leave it like this. The only thing you can do is just what? To just ensure that your sub teams and teams that you want to talk about is bold. And why is outline important in a research writing? Outline is important because it gives chronology to your work. Outline is important because it helps you to know what to focus on at at various times in order to what bring a total solution until you arrive at your destination of what you're researching on. So without outline of this outline like this, you wouldn't know where to go, but you just be scattered. What should I write first? How should I go about it? When should I go about it? Just like that. From various other departments, we've seen things like data analysis. I'll get to explain those of data analysis later. But first of all, I'm explaining the part of qualitative aspect of research writing, which is with just narrative aspect and descriptive aspect, which are used for various historians, English writers, and just like that for their PhD, for their masters, and just like that with various other departments. But I just want to give you a basic explanation and understanding of what you should do in your chapter 1. That is also necessary for every other department, what they should do, and what your chapter 1 entails. And where if you go to other department, what you explain in your chapter 1 is what you also see in those departments. So that's just it. So for that, I would like to just take you into a particular work I wrote to give you a basic understanding of what is background to the study, what statement of problem, what is this, what is that, in order for you to just have a basic knowledge of it. So that's where we come. You see, these are table of content. Later, I'll teach you how to construct table of content, how to take the problems you see and turn them into a topic for you to just write about them. So that's that about that. So chapter one, introduction, background of the study. What does background of the study entails? Your background of the study is just like you are setting a foundation. This is the foundation of your research writing you're about to do. And when you talk about background of the study, you not just that, oh, for example, now this topic, let's go, what is the topic about? Let's use that as our scope and as our focus. The transformation of Aboriginal community, 1936 to 2019, a historical world survey. So we're talking about transformation of Aboriginal community. But when you now come to this background of the study, let's see what is the background of the study doing. So you now get to see, oh, did you see that it just came to start talking about the Aboriginal community? No, it started from somewhere. Human migration, because for there to be a transformation, there must be things that have changed over the years. So they now lay the foundation on human migration. What happened in social place that led to people moving from one place to another? Because it's trying to tell us about the transformation of the Aboriginal war community. Were there people who were staying here before the Warrior people came in? Just like that. So you have to lay the foundation. And particularly they took the topic from what? From world view. Okay, look at it. The map of Europe, for example, is a product of several major early migration involving Germanic peoples, the Slavs, the Turks, among others. And in the course of 100 years, from the late 16th century, the 20th century of America. So you see, they went back to the beginning of all beginnings, not just in Nigeria, but in the world at large. So from there, your background of the study, the next step you also take is towards to go, what is it talking about in Africa? So you've talked about slave migration, things that led to the migration in the world like that. You just be laying your foundation of your work. You now come to in Africa, what has been happening, what has led to changes to various things. So you have to be streamlining it like that. From there, you now come to Nigeria. What has been happening in Nigeria in the migration realm? What are the transformation that have been happening? In Nigeria, also a quick glance to the ethno history of various people will show that they had migrated from one region to their present location. For example, the Ibro of the central Nigeria, for instance, are believed to have migrated from Jokum. The Basange people are believed to have migrated from the Niger state. The Oworo people of Obojana are not exceptional to this development as they had migrated into their present world location. You now see they're now bringing it down to now the Obojana people. So that is what your background of the study deals with. Then from there, you now see that it now comes to the Obojana community. Who are the people of Obojana community? This is an Oworo speaking group domiciled in Lokoja local government area of Kogi State. From there, you now get to talk about, okay, you say transformation have what causes transformation? Then begin to talk about the what? The Dangote cement factory. This is where it now came in. From there, you just sum it up and I entered what your statement of problem. But if there's one thing I want you to understand about this background, so you see the way it went. It started from introduction, the beginning of all beginnings. How has this thing happened in the world? How has this happened in states? How has it happened in African? How has it not happened in Nigeria? How has it not happened in Kogi State? And how has it not happened in what the Obajanawa community? And if there's one thing that research does, for your research to be relevant and to be coherent and for you to see the ending of your beginning, is that you have to be specific on what you are writing about. Researchers, they are not generalistic. You don't generalize things. Oh, I'm writing on the people of Nigeria. You cannot write on the people of Nigeria. It is not possible. You cannot just write on the whole people of Nigeria. I know we have a study of the book of people of Nigeria where it wrote about the various dialects and the various things. But when it comes to research writing, project writing, you have to be specific and streamline your topic in order not to give you burden yourself. I'm talking about the people of Obajana, be specific. Which people in Obajana? The Oworo people in Obajana. Are there other dialects in Obajana? Okay, there might be, but it's the Oworo people I'm more concerned about. Do you see that? So you have to be specific. You don't say, oh, I'm writing on the people of Kogi State. I just write on the people of Kogi State. You have more than how many words? About 21 dialects over there and languages. So before you talk about the Igala, under the Igala, they have the Idoma. They have various sets of dialects under the Igala people. Or you want to talk about the Yoruba people in Kogi State. They have the Okun branch. Under the Okun, they'll tell you they have the other Okun, they still have various dialects in Okun from the how are they calling it? From the Jumu to the Aede people, like various aspects like that. So you cannot just generalize. Are you talking about the Aede people in Kaba? So you must be specific on the people in order to give what are you talking about in the past and why is it important to now and why did you decide to do it as a body of knowledge. So you see that you must be specific when choosing your topic. That's why you see that sometimes your supervisor tries to help you to restructure those topics. So I hope I'm not going too fast. So the statement of the problem: for a research topic to become viable, to become researchable, it must be solving a problem. If it's not solving a problem, there's no need for you to start researching about it. Don't waste your time. You're not writing novels here. Even novels, the author is trying to pass a message across. So what's the problem you are trying to solve? Okay, we're talking about the transformation of Aboriginal community, a historical survey. Okay, what's been happening there? Industrialization. Okay, now look at this example like this. Industrialization is often seen as the basis for economic development and growth of any nation. Nigeria, like many countries of the world, seeking to attain industrialization through the establishment of communities of industries. So, moreover, the location of industry has tremendous impact on the places and people of the area in both positive and negative ways. Hence, this research examines the transformation of Aboriginal community and the establishment of the cement factory by addressing the following research question: what is the nature of dynamics of socio-economic political transformations in less time? So you see, you are solving a problem. What is the problem you've stated? You have to state that problem out. That's what this outline under this sub-theme of this chapter one is all about, this statement of problem. What is the problem in this research work that you've noticed? What's the problem in this research work that you're trying to solve? So that's what it's about. Now, the aims and objectives is just like giving an answer to the problem. Oh, we've noted this particular problem, the nature and dynamics of social, economic, political transformation since earliest time. You now see the objective to examine the nature and dynamics of social, economic, and political transformation of Aboriginal. So just tell you that, oh, this is the problem, and this is how I'm going to solve the problem. This is the solution to the problem. This is the way I'm going to use it. What these are the questions I'm going to tackle in this particular research work from my chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. This is what it is going to be trying to be solving. So the objective and aims of the suggestive is answering back to the problem that has been notified and noted out. These are the things that have been identified as problems. So the objective is like giving an answer to it. And every objective, you have to know something. The number one thing you stated as problem here should be the number one solution you are bringing here. Look at this number 3 now. What are the challenges facing the community and the way forward is a problem that we want to check. Look at the aims to discuss the challenge facing the community and the way forward. You see? So for every number you itemize, you must ensure that the objectives will outline answering to that problem that you want to solve. So the significance of the study is just, why is this topic important? What is this topic going to be contributing on? Or on the academic aspects, the historian aspects? Is it the people of the community? Is it the body of knowledge? Is it going to be used to solve a problem? Is it going to be used as a recommendation for other work? So these are what you state under the significance of the study. So you see another reason why outline is important. So all these things are the things you use as a building block for your foundation in any research writing. You see the way they just followed from background, statements, aims and objectives, significance. Why is it what important? There's scope and limitation. What is scope and limitation talking about? The scope just simply implies, just like I tell you, that you must be specific about which people are you talking about. So the scope entails the particular people you are trying to talk about or the topic you are trying to cover. That is what the scope is just all about. And from there, you now get to go towards the limitation. I forget to say something. The scope also entails you talking about what the year. That is very crucial. Any research work that after you state a year, and beginning is also year, and ending is also year, and you do not put the reason why it is important, you've not started your research writing, you're wasting your time. Oh, this work now, I started it from what? The period of 1936. Why is this started 1936? Being the year Aboriginal community alongside three other communities were removed from the Kababonu district and incorporated into the Oworo district. So you must have a reason of why you are choosing that particular year. Why are you ending it in 19? Or you can even continue to state some of the significance that have happened over the year. Like now, I'm talking about changes, continuity, and transformation that have happened over the year. So now you now get to see, and I talk about 1991 too. Oh, 1991, Kogi State was created. 1991, the Warrior, the Obenda Company came under one of the local government under what? Kogi State. You now get to continue from that. Oh, in 2003, 2002, the Obenda Committee was created. This thing was initiated. They started work in 2000. So you just see all these things are what are crucial to your research writing. You begin to say the importance and significance of all the years that you've been working on, but most specifically the start date and your end date. Okay, why are you ending the scope in 2019? The scope is limited to 2019 because the research topic is focusing on change and continuity in Obajana. thus encompassing change till present. So when we wrote this research topic, it was in 2020. So we had to stop in what? In 2019. Why is 2019 important? It is talking about change and transformation that has happened till so time. So it must be what? Important. So that's just it. Then you now say something about limitations of the study. It's simply tell you what were the difficulties you experienced while trying to carry out this research work. Okay, in the course of carrying out this research, I encountered many difficulties. Prominent among them was the absence of sufficient tests relating to the subject of the study. These challenges made it difficult to validate or authenticate the dates given during the oral interview. As a result, the researcher had to visit the National Archive Kaduna to obtain relevant information related to the what area of the study. So you now get to understand something now that as you are stating the limitation and the problems, challenges you experience down to your finance, down to oral interview, down to getting materials from secondary sources like that. You also state what were the solutions you now created in order to bring an end to that particular problem. Like how you say, oh, there was no sufficient test, and I had to visit National Wars Archive Kaduna in order to get what? In order to get in order to get materials just like that. So that this is a particular solution. What's another problem we also talk about here? Lack of literature for this research work necessitated the use of what? Oral sources. So as you're stating the limitation you encounter, they're also stating what? The solution. I hope you are getting what every outline in chapter one, what it is meant for. And the same outline, what it is meant for in a research, in a historical studies, what is still meant for in what? In a science study. The only difference is that for science now they can add data analysis, data so like that, just like that. But it's the same thing everywhere. Now research method is that what are the methodologies you employed in order to get a solution for that particular topic? What are the things steps you took? So they say the research adopts a historical methodology using primary and secondary source. So this is your method you use in carrying out this research. That is, I use both primary and secondary source. Okay, what are the primary sources you use? Sources from National Archive Kaduna, custodians of the people's culture, oral interview, they are the primary sources. Then the secondary sources, what are the secondary sources has to do with? The secondary sources are published textbook, articles in journals, unpublished seminar papers, project testing and online sources. So you see, so it's not like these are the things that I made use of. These are the method. This is the method I use in getting information and answering that particular question. So the research adopted a multidisciplinary approach in the study, drawing knowledge from the field of economics, political science, geography, and the presentation of the narrative is what? Expository. So what is narrative? Is a historical research. So we are totally narrating things that are happening and how it happened. So the research will be organized into 5 chapters. The first chapter is this with general introduction, which comprises of background of so this is what the research method just entails. You trying to tell how did you go about it? What were the things you feel? What were the ways you used in getting your data, getting your information, and just coming about the topic? So research method, the format you used, the steps you used, and how did you use it, and what are the things you utilized like that. Okay, it is also a multidisciplinary approach. Why is it multidisciplinary? We checked, we draw knowledge and information from the field of economics, political science and geography, and the present just like that. So you just see that's what this is just about. From there, let's go to literature review. I also take time to also take literature review. Maybe if it's possible for me to take it as a full video course like that. But what is literature review and what does it entails? There are people that will review a book and they will just review the book and just leave it at that. Oh, this is what I got from this book like that, and just leave it like that. That's not a literature review. To review a book is for you to state out what that particular author talked about that is related to your own work, and what there is and the particular writer did not talk about that you want to now cover as your own form of what of research in order to cover in and bring to the body of knowledge. Because it is why is literature review important? It is important for you to know what has been written before time or what has not been researched about. Because if a writer has already written about what you want to write, there's no need for you to go and research it. You are wasting what? Your time. Except you know, oh, this is what this particular writer talked about, but it did not talk about this particular thing, which is what I want to cover. So that is what literature review is about. And literature review, don't just leave it at 5 lines. You are wasting your time. That is not a review. How can you say you see 336 pages and the only thing you're able to bring out is just a five line space, 5 line work? No, you must go in depthly. What did he talk about in this chapter? This is what he talk about in chapter 2. This is what he talk about. This is what he cover. And now the okay, I've been able to learn this from this particular thing, but this is what he did not do that I'm trying to do, and I'm going to be covering. Let's check an example with this particular work. And a literature review, don't just go about trying to get any out book to just come and review. The book you are reviewing must be in line with your what, with your topic. Now, for example, the books I got to review as a result of the transformation of the Aboriginal community were books on what? On urbanization, books on what? On industrialization, books about the people of what? Kogi State, books about the people of what? Of the Oku people. They must be related. Books about the what? The Oworo people. So these are the things, books about industrialization. We're talking about the Aboriginal community and how it has brought about changes in the what? In the Obajana community, that is the Obajana factory, the Dangote factory. So just like that. So the books must be related to what you are researching about. I cannot be researching on migration and I'm going to be looking for books on health. Does it make sense? It does not make a sense. So just like that. So let's go on. Let's see this example I noted here so that you know how to go about it. One of the literature is Lokoja Boat Regatta, a symbol of unity and transportation to the people of Lokoja. 1715 to 2017 by Dr. Adi Ali, where he writes that the first inhabitants of the Lokojas were the Warrior, Basange, Nupe, Hausa, and the Yoruba people. The author posits that the Oworo people are a Yoruba ethnic group who migrated centuries before the jihad from Ile-Ife and settled on mountain party on Lokoja. So just like that, you see, furthermore, so this is what the man have been able to bring out. Furthermore, Akava records by Mr. Izad, a British ethnographer. So I'm just trying to back up what this particular writer say, if it is true or it is not true. He also stated that what and the that is colonial government holds the two most important chiefs were the Agboshi who lived in the Yakuru who owned the Pato de Rami. This is district not in Lokoja. So just like that, just like that. So now let's come back to the end part of this work. So you see there's something I noted here. The literature provides useful information on the migration and settlement of the Oworo people in Lokoja. That is this work by Dr. Adi Ali, Kogi State and their expansion, which agrees with what the research work. You must always say this at the end of every book review that you've reviewed. However, the tradition of origin of the Oworo people in Obajana was not provided, which is another aspect this research would entail. So you now see, I talked about the benefit of the book and what the book has not done that I want to what to cover. That is what literature review is for. Did you get that? So, however, this is what it has not done. If the man has been able to talk about the original community and the changes that have happened, there's no need for you to go and be talking about it. There's somebody who has already researched about it. So you are doing a review in order to get more knowledge. You're doing a review in order to know what has not been covered for you to know what you are all covering. That is what a review is all about. Let's go to another review about Bayo Ijagbemi and what does the work entitled The Oku Yoruba in Yoruba Arts, Historiography, History, Problems and Prospects. The Oworo culture bears a grave resemblance with those of Bono, Ikiri, Iagba, Ijumu, and the Ewe people, who are, together with the Oworo people, referred to as the Okun, the word used in greeting. So now, why is this man work important to our work? Let's come here and come and see. Basically, Ijakwemi discussed about the cultural affiliations of the Oworo people in his work, but his work did not lay emphasis on the Oworo people of Obajana, which is the void this research tends to fill. Also, Ijagbemi never enunciated about the change and continuity of the Oworo people in his words in his book. So did you see that? He talked about the Oworo people and how they are related and affiliated to the people of Okun State, but he don't talk about the Oworo people though. Oh, Oworo people, they are dispersed in various places, living in various where. He did not talk about the Oworo people in Obajana. What's happening to the Oworo people in Obajana? So this is what this book wants to cover. We are talking about change and continuity, the transformation that has happened as the year has gone by, the changes, the things that are still continue, the things that are stopped, the things that they are practicing, the things that are no longer war practicing. From there, you say get review book on urbanization and population growth and economic like that. Let me go to the ending of the work. You see, this is just one particular book. The book was there's just so much. Similarly, not all urban people. So you have to go in depthly on what that particular book is on. So where did I end it? Look at where I ended it. And what did I talk about? Okay, the author did not cover the area of study. Okay, let me come. From these push and pull factors, it could be seen that disparity between urban and rural areas are the main reason behind more and more population concentration. The author did not cover the area of study, which is the gap of knowledge this research topic would be about. However, the literature helped to an extent in examining the impact of urbanization in any community and the need for government to improve rural communities, which would help in making urbanization possible. Therefore, reducing the increase in rural-urban migration, which is the aspect of this research topic, is what is focusing on. So as with the construction, so you are talking about what are the similarities that these people have done that is similar to your work? What are the things they did not cover that your work wants to cover? Do you get it? And what are the things they've covered that you not need to cover, but you've been able to gain a body of knowledge from them in order to what to add to your work, in order to discuss about the changes and what continuity. This is what the literature review is all about. This is what the literature review is what it's all about. You are reviewing books that are related to that particular topics. You are reviewing various topics that are related to that particular topic. You are trying to gain a body of knowledge on things that have been covered, things that were not talked about, things that you are going to be talking about. Because there will be no need for you to go into the research work if people have already what discussed about it. That is why review is important. As historians, we deal with facts. So whoever is a researcher, you deal with what with facts. You don't just lie and exaggerate about things. You must deal with the accuracy of things, the way it appear, how it appears, and what has been what happening. All these things are what crucial, they are important, they are effective in order to contribute to the body of knowledge. Because with time, people are also going to give references to the work you researched on. People are going to talk about also what, also review your book, also criticize your book. So you should ensure that everything is what up to date, dealing with facts and what accurate. So now conclusion. In conclusion, this chapter tries to give general introduction of what research is based on. These include the research statement of problem, significance of the study, aims and objective of the study. So you see, this is what your conclusion is just a body of what? A summary of all what you've researched on or a summary of all what you've written on. That's what conclusion is what is all about. So from there, I think I'll get to do a topic that will teach you about end notes, the difference between end note and references. There are some departments that they don't give end notes with every chapter. Their end note is in their bibliography. So I will teach you what is references, what is end note, and what is bibliography, what is all about. What is the difference between end note and what are references? So now if you see if I turn, you see this one is automatic, it brought me to the number one aspect of it. But for references, I don't need to number it one, two, three, four like this. I don't need to do it. I just come right to references and just put all the references I used there. But in end note, I must be specific. This particular line, in order to avoid plagiarism, this particular line, it is gotten from here. I will number it, automate it. That whoever is touching it in whatever computer, it has already been what automated like that. So that is just that about references and end notes. And bibliography is mostly at the end of your work. So it's a comparison of all the references, the end notes, the things you used in your research writing. So we are going to deal with it. I'll teach you how to automate it and how to do your referencing just like that. And for other departments, there are some that make use of footnotes. Yes, there are some that make use of footnotes, like the sciences, or you're writing a book, you see that they make use of what of footnotes. Footnotes is just at every chapter you will put the books you got the sources of, instead of waiting for you to be come to the last page to come and put it. End note is when it is what? It is the end part. Like the last, we like call it last, the end of your work. That's what you get to just itemize everything out. But for footnotes, at every chapter, the books you utilize, you'll be indicating them there. You'll be indicating, you see that you come and it will be somewhere like this area like this. That's why you'll be seeing your footnotes. It will be under each pages. But for the end note, it's at the end of one. So you see, this is the end of chapter one. You see it there because this is a research writing. This is history, historical writing. You see it at the end of it here. So this is it. From there, enter chapter two. So this is how historians do their own work. So for other department, there are some that will entail you. So for you to research, it depends on your department. You have to understand the template of your department and the outline. But be that as it may, everything I've explained here is what is happening with every other department. Your literature review, what I just explained here is what needs to be in your literature review. A scientist, whatever you are, that's what literature review entails. Or scope of study, that is what it entails in all departments. That is what they are trying to explain. So for you to do research work accurately, understand the template of your department, how they work, and how you go about it. So that's just about that. That's just about that. So yeah, so thank you for watching. Please do well to subscribe. We are the Kingdom Research Institute. So what are we doing? I'm creating impactful academics. So bring it to the body of knowledge. And there's a word I would say we should go out and occupy. So whatever business we are doing, ensure you involve words, you involve God. So you can do well to follow our page and also do well to subscribe, and with time, I'm opening social media pages for this. So when I do, I'll let you know so that you get to follow. This is the WhatsApp number if you want to message me directly. So thank you for watching. God bless, and see you in the next video and the next class.